For coming. We are here today to honor a man who displayed the best qualities of an American patriot, a man who led a noble army of African Americans and whites against an aggressive and domineering foe, a man who brought honor, dignity, and the white-hot fire of fury to the South. That man is General William T. Sherman. Welcome to the Richmond Confederate Roast, brought to you by a surprisingly paltry donation from George Soros. We've got a great lineup here today. I, Nate Peterson, will be your roast master of ceremonies. Later, we'll be hearing from LeVar Stoney, the Generalissimo of Antifa, and Ulysses S. Grant. Before we get into it, I'd like to start off with a little history lesson. You may sit back and wonder to yourselves, how are there so many dumb people here today who think the Confederacy wasn't racist? Any old hags from the United Daughters of the Confederacy here today? I guess not. When you're old enough to have boned Robert E. Lee, I guess it's a little hard to get out of the bathroom in the morning. Those old bats demanded that the textbooks reflect a fictional version of the South, one in which the slaves were well treated and fought voluntarily with their white masters against the evil Union. None of that actually happened. African Americans fought in the Confederate Army because they were slaves. Plus, why would a slave fight in an army whose stated purpose was, and I quote from the Articles of Secession from South Carolina, our position is thoroughly identified with the institution of slavery, the greatest material interest of the world. Its labor supplies the product which constitutes by far the largest and most important portions of commerce of the earth. All right, now that we've gotten out of the way, let's talk about the truly smart people who made it to pilgrimage to racist Horcrux Avenue. I wanted to take a moment to honor these cousin boners who couldn't be with us today. I know Lavoy Finicum holds a special place in all of your hearts. It's sad that he was killed before he could die of autoerotic asphyxiation, which is, I think, a better way for him to go considering his last name. Let that serve as a lesson to all you that no matter how many guns you have, to compensate for your micro penises, you'll never be able to successfully occupy a government building. Let's get things started with Doug Sweet. Doug Sweet, who has admitted to touching women inappropriately. So, as Doug always says, it's not incest if it's in the family. Billy Sessions, we have Billy Sessions here today. Billy Sessions is what happened when you punch Jeff Foxworthy in the face 300 times and have him join the KKK. Billy recently had a black woman on one of his live streams to prove he wasn't racist. Meanwhile, he had 10 commenters calling her the N-word and a coon during the course of the interview. Now, our favorite one, Tara Brandau. Tara Brandau to make it today. Tara was the crowd favorite back in the day. Let's start off with a rant from one of her former associates. Jack Burke from the League of the South was nice enough to send us his thoughts. And I quote, Florida 3% security force have to be the most pathetic group I've ever seen. They show up in LARP, and when it gets scary, they run. Tara Brandau, aka Hog Girl, which fancies herself as the commander for that organization, literally ran away from 2 femme males on bikes, and now they are begging for money. What an embarrassment! These are nothing more than yellow belly flaggers! And they run from queers on bicycles. Can you imagine how they'd cave when the shit hits the fan? Pathetic! One less historical revisionist here today since Tara Brandau had a miscarriage. Maybe you don't put all your life events on GoFundMe, eh? What do Tara Brandau and the Confederate Army have in common? Part of them died on the way up to Richmond. Tara, why so many fundraisers? First, it's because you said Antifa cut your tires. That's dumb since fundraising sites don't have an instant pay option. Now you want money because you're not having a baby? You know you actually got the cheaper end of the deal here, right? I'm starting to think that you have fundraisers for everything. Oh, I'm having trouble taking a poop on the toilet. Please send me $500 on GoFundMe. UCSA people have some very big historical illiteracy. At least the other guys who like to wave the Confederate flag are a little less subtle about being actual Nazis. You all are constantly trying to toe the line of heritage, not hate. Have you ever thought about why you constantly have to ask the KKK not to show up to your events? Could it maybe be because you're waving their bat signal? being against hate but for the Confederate flag is like saying you love Pop-Tarts but you don't eat sugar. They're inseparable from each other. Fun fact for you all. In countries where the swastika is banned, what symbol do the Nazis use instead? The one you're wearing on your heads. Thank you all again to you inbred white cosplayers who made it out today. We hope you come back again and again. To my Richmond peeps, I hope you all can find somebody who looks at you the way these people look at that statue. Everyone give it up. Now we got over to Go Gatsby. Woo!